Let's move on to tonight's stories. The NDC MP on Parliament's Finance Committee, John Jinapor, says he is disappointed over responses given by the Central Bank Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, when he appeared before the committee, which is probing the collapse of 7 indigenous banks. According to Mr. Jinapor, Dr. Addison was evasive with a lot of responses he gave during the 3.5-hour interrogation, including what is being done to punish Bank of Ghana officials who supervise the collapse and security of staff. Let's speak to parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, who has been monitoring activities there in Parliament. Harsh words, if you like, from the MP there. Tell us more of what has been happening today. Unfortunately, appears that we have lost Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. We will be trying to re-establish contact with him as we find out what happened in Parliament. As we have been reporting, the Parliament's Committee on Finance is probing what led to the collapse of 7 banks. In other news tonight, the United Arab Emirates-based satellite operator Yasat says it's committed to complementing government's effort at reducing the $2.5 billion internet deficit in the country. Speaking to Joy Business at the official launch of the broadband satellite service YaClick in Accra, country manager Africa, that is Denver Batman, said his outfit seeks to provide internet connectivity for the unserved and underserved areas in the country. Bismarck Awusa has more.
There are some reports that internet communication disruption costs the country approximately $6.3 million a day, with such disruption costs expected to increase by the close of the year. According to the country manager for Yasat Africa, Denver Batman, Sub-Saharan Africa has suffered substantial economic losses in recent years due to frequent internet breakdowns that directly affect fixed, wireless and mobile internet connectivity. It is against this backdrop Denver Batman believes the entry of satellite broadband services into the country has become necessary to reduce the $2.5 million internet deficit.
Most countries face this issue when internet services are interrupted, and these could be interrupted by cable theft or, technology challenges. Technology is challenged at the best of times. With this groundbreaking technology, we are able to negate some of that. We're able to reduce, what it costs the economy. We are able to give people access to the outside world. Businesses can operate. And I guess we all understand when businesses are not able to connect and their businesses are based on having online transactions, are able to offer services, it costs them as a company, it costs the company the country, and that's what we're trying to change.
He also noted the company's presence in the country is geared towards improving trade volumes between Ghana and the United Arab Emirates.
Yasat is a satellite operator based in Abu Dhabi, and we provide satellite broadband services and satellite communication services across the Middle East, Southwest and Central Asia, across Africa, as well as Brazil. And Yasat is owned by a government agency, the investment arm of the Abu Dhabi government, by Mubadala. So we are 100% government owned, and we are now providing this particular service, YaClick, into Ghana and the rest of Africa as well.
The official service partners of the Yasat broadband satellite services are Comsys Ghana Limited and Teledata ICT Limited. This is Bismarck Awusa's report.
All right, let's head to Parliament. Hopefully we have a better line to Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. Joseph, we've been speaking about the Governor of the Central Bank's appearance before Parliament's Committee on Finance and the fact that the NDC MP, John Jinapor, said he was disappointed about the responses given by the Central Bank Governor. What exactly do we know did the Central Bank Governor say?
So he's been responding to questions about job losses as a result of the collapse of the when it comes to what exactly is being done to ensure that the situation doesn't get any worse with unemployment. There have also been questions to him about what is being done to ensure that those Bank of Ghana officials who were actually responsible or supervised the banks that led to this particular situation are dealt with. And he's been explaining to members of the committee that when it comes to job losses, these are things that happen as and when decision needs to be taken on how each bank would be able to survive and he's been explaining that, the Bank of Ghana is closely following the situation of job losses, and that they will do what they can to help deal with that. Again, he's also been telling members of the committee that it takes time when it comes to bringing people to book, those who may have been responsible for some of these activities, particularly those at the Bank of Ghana, and so they continue to look into that. The Ministry of Finance as well, officials from the Ministry of Finance, led by Deputy Finance Minister Charles Wahine, also appeared before the committee. That session ended a while ago. And the interrogation when it comes to the Bank of Ghana focused on the role that they played in terms of helping provide funds to inject the debt liquidity support and the money into the operations of the bank. And we know the amount is in the billions. And so the committee members were quizzing the Bank of Ghana officials on what motivated them to take those decisions. And mainly we gather that the explanation has been that officials of the Finance Ministry in collaboration with the Bank of Ghana felt the way forward in terms of consolidating the banks and injecting fresh capital into them was actually the best way to deal with the situation to help save jobs. That's how come those decisions were taken.
All right, Joseph, correct me if I'm wrong. This was supposed to be happening for 3 days. I guess the questions on the minds of people is, when are we also going to hear what is happening there? Because the proceedings are being held in camera.
Exactly. So the proceedings are held in camera, and then when it's done, then the committee members brief the media on what exactly transpired. But one thing that emerged today, according to the chairman of the committee, Dr. Makasbe Eboa, the probe that they announced they are doing over the next 3 days is an initial inquiry based on the documents that they are gathering and the testimony of the officials who are appearing before them. Once they are done with that initial 3-day inquiry, which would also see officials from the Consolidated Bank as well as PricewaterhouseCoopers, and then KPMG, who are the receivers, and then finally the Securities and Exchange Commission and the National Insurance Commission. You know, those are the ones that have been outlined. The chairman of the committee explains that once they are done with that initial probe and they decide and they analyze the evidence that they have and decide that a full-blown inquiry is needed, where they would require the directors of the collapsed banks to show up and come provide necessary details on what happened, then maybe they would open that up to the public and make it a full-blown inquiry, when probably officials of the Bank of Ghana could be invited back to help with the additional inquiry. So a date for that additional inquiry has not been announced yet, but the chairman indicates that decision will be taken after they are done with the first 3 days of the initial inquiry.
All right, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo there, bringing us up to speed. Hopefully, there's going to be a public hearing for all of you who are very inquisitive, who want to know what is happening with our monies and with the collapse of 7 banks. Let's move on to other news tonight. Senior partner at ABN David Ofosu-Dorte, has rejected claims that the decision by government to seek infrastructure funding support from China will disrupt the external credit funding program with the IMF. Ofosu-Dorte believes the deal must be probed properly to ensure that it is used for the intended purpose.
The minority in Parliament has petitioned the International Monetary Fund, IMF, on whether the barter agreement with the Chinese on the Sino Hydro is a loan or otherwise. According to them, the deal is likely to interfere with a program Ghana is currently running with the IMF. Commenting on the issue, senior partner at ABN David Ofosu-Dorte, said government should be checked on how the funds are utilized.
But I think the IMF program is monitored on a constant basis. Again, that's one of the reasons why I floor this discussion, because the original $3 billion facility is already factored into the IMF program. So any addition to borrow $3 billion is part within the IMF band already, and at least with the information which is public, that's how I understand it. So it's not an additional borrowing. It is rather how you are utilizing that money. Now, if we go beyond that, because you have an IMF program, IMF will come and do the monitoring that they do, the periodic monitoring. So why do we want to speak for the IMF? I find it very difficult to understand why anybody wants to speak for the IMF. Why don't we question the government as to how are you putting the money in productive industries to pay back the money? That's a more productive argument than deciding whether we shouldn't borrow or not. I don't want to speak for the IMF.
He also rejected claims that China is using its financial support to colonize African countries.
But definitely China is not out to colonize anybody. I think in this modern world, no country is going to colonize anybody. The world is a global stage, and in the global geopolitics, each country is trying to assert its influence. And there is clearly an influence assertion being made by China and the U.S.
Speaking at the Ghana Economic Forum in Accra, President of Group Indum, Dr. Papakwesi Indum, called for a decentralized government system to help solve the country's developmental problems.
And then we are asking about sustainability. How can you sustain anything when the micro level, the pocket level economy is not there? And the rural economy is also not there. And there's one thing that you might not expect me to say in a business forum like this, but it has to do with decentralization. Decentralization. That is letting the people at the local level determine their own priorities, first starting with electing all of their own assembly members and their DCEs. You will be amazed the energy that you will release in this country when that happens, because it would also have to come with some fiscal decentralization as well.
The two-day conference is expected to close with a recommendation from the private sector on ways to better manage the economy.
All right, you're watching Business Live. It's a Wednesday. Up next, the Joy Business Van. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Business Live. Now, giving meaning to space is what she does best, putting her love for homes above other things, including her chances in the beauty industry. Rachel Caesar is tapping into the steadily growing interior designing industry through her company, Space Concepts. Here's a story on the Business Van.
Right from infancy, her passion for houses were visible. First started out as sketchy drawings, then turned into 3D drawings. Towing the line of the fashion or beauty industry could have been an option for her after placing second in the 1997 Miss Ghana Beauty Pageant. But rather, Rachel Caesar followed her love for arts by studying it as a course.
There was a bit of inspiration after my BSc architecture degree at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. So I studied interior design and landscaping in the UK. And I've had a passion for that since I was young because I liked buildings that appealed to my senses. So basically, it's something that needs to be more appreciated here, I think. And we have to start from a point of people not just thinking that it's about getting into a space and throwing in some furniture and a few curtains, carpets, etc., and then, you know, you're good to go.
With her master's certificate, her skills for designing led to the creation of her company, Lespas. Spatial planning, interior and building designing are among the services provided by her company. With a permanent administrative staff of 6 and over 40 contract artisans, Lespas is bringing meaning to not just homes, but offices as well.
So I've done a few jobs. I must say I've been fortunate because when people see my work, they sort of love the style. So then I did something for some corporate bodies. I've done something for Activa International Insurance. I did up their offices in Freetown. I've done even a church office complex for Christ the King Anglican Church in Sakumono Estate. I've also done some work for the University of Ghana Business School, actually. Quite a lot of work for them. Yes, for their library and the interiors of their library, their gallery, and something at the University of Ghana as well.
Showing me around this home she designed some 6 years ago, she explains that getting quality furniture and accessories is key in her business. Although she has an agenda to promote Made in Ghana, she is forced to import most of her materials to meet the demand for quality.
It usually varies. Sometimes, depending on the scope of work, if the job is huge, you may be better off importing. If it's a one-off job on a smaller scale, you may have to use local. But with local, the challenge is also the finishes that you get, because you may not get it to be as good as you really want in terms of the detail. So if you import, at least you are assured of the specifications that you are given to the manufacturer, and then that works better for the design. Okay, so basically these are to stash away the dishes, plates. Yes,
and
this is an extractor for taking out smoke. Takes out smoke from the kitchens. That's why most people use it. Because what these do is, when you have this type of stoves, because you're not using the gas directly, the gas is connected outside. So you need a way of getting the smoke out.
Landing most of her contracts by referrals, Rachel says interior designing in Ghana is catching on well, although many are yet to appreciate its full concept. For those yet to appreciate it, she says it can be hard to work for sometimes.
Interior design, or the design industry, in the building and design industries, some clients who would like the professional advice and expertise but are not really willing to pay. So they try and fleece off a few ideas, and there are also others who want the jobs done but in their way. So in effect,
makes it kind of difficult.
Yeah, very difficult.
Make you operate the way
exactly. So then it's not professional, because if you're done, then it's not something that is peculiar to you, the designer. It's just like how architects design, buildings for clients, and he says that, yeah, this is my design.
Hoping to be the next big interior designer in her generation, Rachel is determined to meet the needs of every customer, ready to bring a touch of style to a home.
In the next 10 years, I'm looking at being a pace setter in the interior design industry, for the building industry in general. Also looking to see if I can have my own connections with suppliers to be able to procure the materials for the designs, and also to have a furniture factory where we can manufacture everything. Because for the kitchens, for instance, we import the car cases, yes, and have a furniture design factory.
Okay.
So I can focus on the actual designs that clients have requested for specifics. Yeah.
Inspiring story. I love interior decors. Now let's go to our main story. And telecoms giant MTN failed to sustain the momentum after its initial public offering after listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange today. Now the share price reached 78 pesos after it began trading around 11 a.m. and it, however, reverted to its public offer price of 75 pesos. And so we'll be bringing you details of this story on Business Prime today. But this is how we wrap up today on Business Live.
It'll be interesting to find out what this exactly means for MTN. So you want to tune into the news tonight, JoyNews Prime. That'll be it. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching.
And my name is Sandra Isanamapeno. Have a good evening.